Hey guys, we're here at Pro Level Fitness. We're hitting shoulders today. Shoulders is what we do on Wednesdays, so what we're gonna do. We're doing a style 2 workout on our Neil Hill program. And that means that we're gonna be doing a little bit higher rep range, 14 to 18 on all of our exercises. We get about 4 different exercises that we're gonna focus on. After shoulders, we're gonna do a little bit of calves and abs. Gotta make sure that we continue to work out these calves, even though it is a blessed muscle group for myself. And then the abs is something that we always wanna focus on. Off season, we are keeping our conditioning in check. As you guys can see, we're about 5 to 6 weeks into our off season, making sure we're eating healthy, but we still gotta work those abs out. Even though we might not have the same cuts as we do in the pre-contest time, it's very important to keep that core strong, because when we shed that body fat, we wanna show off an awesome core. So that's the workout that we're gonna be doing today. Follow us along. Let's get it, let's go, boom. So first exercise that we're gonna do today is our standing dumbbell side lateral. We are kind of cold, so we're gonna come in and we're gonna do some warm-up sets. I like to do about 4 warm-up sets. Go at the bottom of the rack, use some lightweight, warm up, and then once we're good to go, we're gonna hit that 14 to 18 reps. So we're gonna start right now. We're gonna get to the bottom of the rack, get some lightweight, and again, whenever we're doing our exercises, you're gonna notice with my style of training that we do not waver with form. Form is very important. We wanna make sure we focus on the muscle that we're working and not using ancillary muscles to help us with those exercises. So let's get some light weight. I like to use straps so we don't get any forearm engagement. Everybody's a little bit different when it comes to like how much weight they're gonna use, obviously depending on how much weight they're gonna end with. But I like to, when you are cold, one of the things that has worked for me, and maybe you wanna try, is make only small jumps for either 5 to 10 pounds, and make sure that you're also keeping that tempo of your speed, not any faster than you would do normal reps. So you're not gonna see that I'm just gonna do it quick, okay? Because that's not how you do normal reps. You still wanna make sure that you're engaging those muscles, because naturally, as big as you might be, depending on your size, using a lightweight and starting to use a lot more momentum, you're not actually gonna be warming up the muscles. You're gonna be using a lot of extra muscle groups. You're actually not gonna be warming up what you're trying to get going. So we started with 10, gonna go to 20. 1, 2, 3. So one of the questions I get a lot of the times is, how many reps should we be doing on our warm-ups? Should these reps be similar as our working set? Should they be the exact same? Should they be more? The way that I do it, I usually do about 4 warm-up sets. I find a weight that I do 15 reps, I do 12 reps, then 10 reps, and then 8. As I'm doing that, I progress up depending on the exercise that I'm doing. So when it comes to maybe like dumbbells, I might start with 10, 20, 30, then 40, and then say my working set is either 50 or 55. If it's something like the leg press, maybe you're putting on a plate with each of those increases. If it's something like maybe like an incline press, maybe you're throwing a 25 extra on each of those. Just depends on whatever that exercise is, but that is a nice progression up. You're using a little bit higher reps, but then as you get closer to your working set, you're not doing so many reps that you're gonna tax yourself and compromise your overall working sets. So I like to use a weight belt, not because my back is bothering me, but I have had back issues in the past, and I like to have a little bit more stability. I'm using my core, strengthening my core with my ab training, my vacuum training. I do want to keep my back nice and tight when I'm doing these reps. When I jump to 30. 1, 2, 3. That's my first working set. And as you guys could see while I'm doing my sets, my hands are here, we're lifting. All that's working is my shoulders. A lot of people you'll see, they go like this, starting to use a lot of exaggeration. When you start to do that, when you start doing this, by the time you go here, you've already used that momentum. So this part of the exercise is completely dead. There's absolutely zero work. And then you're going into this part of the exercise with additional momentum. Basically, you're not getting the most out of the weight. So what I tell you, if that is something that you're doing, lower the weight, do it in a controlled fashion, and you will get better results. Okay? Yes, there are people that you'll see that have good shoulders doing it improperly. They probably were genetically gifted to have good shoulders to start with. I was not. My shoulders have improved over the years only when I've focused on doing it the right way. Okay, so we're now moving on to our pressing exercise for the day, which is gonna be a dumbbell seated shoulder press. Now, one of the things that I know I've said in some of my other videos is that I like machines like this right here, okay, where it limits the range of motion. But as I was talking to the owner here at Pro Level Fitness, Alex, who's an Olympian, classic physique guy, he mentioned to me that to help with the roundness of my shoulders and the development of my front delt, he thought that it would be best to me to work through a more extended range of motion and not limit the range of motion. But that's gonna mean, if we're gonna do that, we're gonna have to lower the overall weight. So with the dumbbells, we're gonna do an exaggerated range of motion to get an extra stretch on the muscles. So the weight's not gonna be tremendously high, obviously also because we're using a 14 to 18 rep range. But as you'll see, I am gonna be going a lot deeper and using some hand positions to allow me to get a lot more of a stretch. So we're gonna go through this exercise, 4 sets. We are gonna have to warm up because we were working the side delts. Now we're gonna do some pressing, but we're gonna get a couple warm-up sets and then we're gonna go right into it, okay? So one of the things that you saw, if you were looking at my warm-up, and you'll see it happen a lot, is that not only are you there to warm up the muscle, but you're also being someone that has been in the game for a minute. Certain things just feel good that day, okay? Other positions don't feel that good. So it could be a foot stance if you're doing legs. It could be a hand position if you're doing something, or the depth in which you're doing stuff. So part of the warm-up phase is also to see what is best gonna work. As you guys see, I was dropping my elbows to get that extra stretch, but on a couple of the reps, I was bringing it out to here to see if that felt overall better. So part of that warm-up phase, as I wanted to mention, is to feel what range of motion and how you're doing the exercises is going to feel the best so you can get the overall best work. So we're strapped back up. We're gonna do some dumbbell alternating front raises. Okay, I like to do them in a hammer fashion in the sense that our hands are gonna be up, so it's not gonna be tilted like this. We're gonna just do them like that. Again, a newer exercise. I'm gonna do some quick warm-up sets, not in the sense that I'm gonna do the the reps fast, but I'm just gonna kind of do about 8 to 10, just to kind of feel the 20s and 30s before I think we're gonna move to the 40s as our working set. Now, just like our side laterals, we are not throwing it around. We're not doing any of this shit. Okay, we're just going here. Okay, pretty easy. We're not gonna take much of a break. We're just gonna go in here, feel this. Again, get that central nervous system going. Probably do about 3 or 4 on each side. Up, feel it. Again, ground our feet, get a nice wide base. Up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. Okay. You will see that my weight will move back and forth when I go there, because I like to ground this foot, because the weight's gonna go up in the air. If it's a little bit better of a balance, and I like to ground that foot. Doesn't mean we're swinging it. I just like to move in there, and it keeps a little bit more. That's what feels good for me. Again, you gotta feel how the range of motion works for you. That's just a little technique I use. I'm not saying it has to be done, but it's just something that has worked for me. So gonna give ourselves a little bit of a break. Not that we taxed ourselves. Gonna get mentally focused, and we're gonna laser in on this. We wanna make sure that we're in shape all off season. So we're not doing this thing shirtless just to show off, maybe a little bit, but to show off that we are staying in good shape throughout this entire off season. So I wanna feel confident in myself that I can take off my shirt at any time during this off season to make sure it is a productive off season. We're making good quality progress and not just increasing the scale. You can do that easily by eating shit and putting on body fat, but we're gonna stay in good shape and we're gonna lift hard and heavy. We're gonna do the 40s, 14 to 18 on each arm. So we're gonna count up to either 22, 28 to 32. So let's get it. So the last exercise today is gonna focus on the rear delts, and that's gonna be our seated, bent over fly. Okay, so we got a lightweight here. It's a cool machine, gets you in this motion. Now you can do it as a regular side lateral, or you can get in a bent position and focus on those. We get the hand position like there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's a nice little, we're gonna do one warm-up set to kind of feel that weight, but as you guys can see, it's gonna target when it bent over the rear delt. If you stand straight up, it's gonna be more of a side delt. As I've said in all my videos, rear delt's not an area in which I need to bring up tremendously, but we still need to make sure we strengthen it and keep that balance so that it doesn't eventually fall behind. Same thing with calves. Those are things that, you know, over the years have grown tremendously well, but we still keep them in the program to continue to have them slowly progress. They're not gonna be hit as hard and as intense as some of the others, and we're gonna focus them later in workouts and so forth so that we put our energy towards the areas that we need to bring up the most. So got one warm-up set, probably gonna double up the weight, and then we're gonna go into it. We're gonna get that 14 to 18 rep range, 4 sets, and then we're done with shoulders. So one thing with this style of training, to make sure that you kind of understand where your mind's got to be at when you're doing a higher rep range type training, is that you got to find that intensity within yourself to be able to push through and find weights, obviously, that challenge you, that making sure that it's not too light, that half the set is overly easy. When you know that a weight is right, and what works, what I've seen for me, is at the 10 rep range, you're tired, okay? Muscle is pumped, it hurts. The next 4 reps are really tough. They get to that next level. That's where that 14 to 18 rep range, you've hit your 14, but that's where you need to kind of go dig deep and see what level you can then come out at. Are you gonna get 1 more rep, 2 more reps, 3 more reps, 4 more reps? That's all that you got in your tank. Now, if you consistently get to that 18 rep range, now obviously we need to add a little bit more weight so that that marker of 14 is a lot harder, and each of those additional reps is that much more taxing. So you shouldn't be easily getting to 18 reps. It should be a stress at 10, a much bigger stress at 14 where you're about done, and then you're just grinding out each additional rep.